The bankers and the politicians get away with this arrangement, if you want to be kind and call it that, mainly because people don't understand what they're doing. We have been told in our textbooks and by our leaders that what is happening in the banking system is really quite marvelous. We're told that it's a wonderful creation of the new age, and that if we didn't have this system, oh yes, there are a few problems here, yes, there are a few inequities, and yes, we got a little inflation, and yeah, we admit all these things, but if we didn't have this, we're told, we'd still be living in caves eating raw meat or something like that. So we are given a bill of goods, basically. We are told, don't get too informed on this. Just trust us that we're taking this under advisement and we're doing a good job. And don't rock the boat, whatever you do. You don't want to mess things up, do you? And that line usually goes over pretty well, and people buy it, and they don't understand it, so they don't want to touch it. It's easy to see where we're headed. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. If you follow a graph, and you can see that there are points on this graph, and they're going constantly in one direction, and they've been doing this for 50 years, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see where it's headed. Where this graph is headed is for total destruction of our monetary system. Our money will be totally worthless, and it'll probably be reissued in the form of some international currency, which will be equally worthless. But the value to these people is that once it's on an international basis, there's nowhere else to go. Right now, if you don't like American dollars, you can buy Japanese yen. If you don't like that, you can buy Swiss francs. If you don't like that, you can move to whatever currency seems to be having a little better track record. Once there's an international monetary system in place, modeled completely and exactly after the Federal Reserve System, it's exactly the same, then there's no place else to go, folks. You've had it. So that's where it's headed, and if we don't turn this thing around, I think we're going to be living in kind of a modern serfdom. And we'll be serving masters, and they won't be living in the big castles that we can see, at least, and say, well, that's where the master lives up there, and we're tilling his field. Our masters will be the bankers and the politicians, and they'll live in big houses, but they won't be castles. But we'll be serving masters nevertheless, and we'll be thinking they're wonderful people without realizing that they are our masters. I think we're headed to modern serfdom if we don't turn this around. If the United States went back to constitutional money, it would be an amazingly wonderful event, because it wouldn't be just going back to constitutional money. In order for that to happen, that means you'd have to assume a groundswell of awakening on the part of the electorate, and they would understand not only what's happening in the monetary system, but what's happening across the board in our political system. So that reform wouldn't happen just by itself. If it happened just by itself, I think we would have a great resurgence of prosperity and tranquility. But unless we get rid of some of these other problems as well, we could still be involved in foreign wars and all kinds of things, forced medication, and so many things we could talk about. Those wouldn't be touched just because we went back to a constitutional monetary system. If we went back to constitutional money, there are a lot of things left open as to other aspects to the reform. For example, we could still have horrendous taxes, and we'd be paying it in real money instead of fiat money, but taxes could still be so high because we're still demanding of our politicians that we have all these benefits, and all these freebie things, and all these welfare programs, and exchange of wealth, and movement of wealth from one class to another. We could still be demanding those things if we're not wise. And so even though we had constitutional money, we would still have tremendous problems in society. So I look at it from a point of view that everything has to happen at once before it to be meaningful, and it has to happen at once before it'll happen at all. But if we did go back to a constitutional monetary system, that means that the electorate would have to be questioning a lot of other things in our society as well. And I think we would see an improvement across the board, and I look forward to that day. Concerned citizens can do a lot to help. First of all, they need to find out the details of this story. Then they need to speak up about it and not be intimidated. Not worry too much about someone saying, oh, you're just a worrywart, or you're just a conspiracy theorist or something, because a lot of people would like to classify this as a conspiracy, you know. So they have to have a little backbone, say, well, you can call it what you will, but these are the facts and we need reform. Then they need to join forces with other people so that they can have the power to do this. I have created an organization just for that purpose. It's called Freedom Force International. It's based on the assumption that any one person or a small group of people can't do anything, even if we have great knowledge. You have to join forces with other people. And then, having joined forces, you have to have a plan of action. You have to know what to do. It's not enough just to complain about it, or to read another book about it, or to hold a seminar on it, or hold up a placard and demonstrate. Our people are always on the outside of the halls of power, looking in. We're petitioning our leaders, saying, oh, won't you please be good guys? Won't you please follow the Constitution? Won't you please not do this? Won't you please listen to us? And they aren't interested because they have the power and we don't. And nothing is going to change unless concerned citizens join together with a plan of action to reach out and recapture control of those power centers of society. And by that I'm talking about the political units, talking about all groups and organizations through which people work and think and form public policy. It's political groups, church organizations, labor unions, you know, civic clubs, everything. We have to be active in all organizations and supply the kind of leadership and direction to replace the leadership and direction that they now have, which is pushing us in the other direction. Unless we have the vision of reaching for this kind of power, then we'll always be on the outside, petitioning and complaining and saying, my goodness, isn't it terrible the way the world is going? So what does a concerned citizen do? He joins forces with others, he has a plan of action, and he comes to power.